The beginning after the end anime adaptation is like when you know that you can do something, but you really shouldn't. It's like when you think, what if I did this, but it really should have stayed a thought. The TBATE anime is like when ignorance meets opportunists, with the ignorant being the author of TBATE Turtle Me and the opportunists being Crunchyroll and Studio ACAT, coming together to make quite possibly one of the worst anime of all time. And that's a feat. Like, we're up there with Pupa, Mars of Destruction, like, it's really bad. Just to paint the picture, I will play a scene, a fight scene actually, from the anime, and we'll take a look at how incredible it is. So if you thought that was a fan animation of manhwa panels, you would be incorrect. That was the actual TBATE anime, the fight scene between Arthur and Tessa's uncle Virion. Without question, one of the worst fight scenes I've ever seen. Literally just a series of still frames with the anime speed effect around the margins. It really makes me think to myself, how could this possibly be profitable? I've never seen an anime adaptation of anything receive so much hate. And there's been a few anime that have came out that are just this bad, like Mars of Destruction, something that's terrible, everybody knows that it's terrible, but usually those types of flops are not anime that are adapted from a well-loved manga or manhwa. Mind you, the author of TBATE, which is a great novel and a great manhwa, he chose Studio ACAT. He chose these guys to animate this. Makes me think, does this guy even watch anime? How could you possibly choose Studio ACAT? Quick look at Mal, and everything that they've ever made is horrible. I mean, maybe Battle Game in 5 Seconds is kind of okay, but that wasn't really made solely by them. But we can hear it from the TBATE author himself. Why did he decide to go with this illustrious Studio ACAT?
Of course I said yes. It's like, let's make it happen. Like, when I first got the offer, Crunchyroll wants to do an original co-pro of The Beginning After the End, and I was like, wait, seriously?
Me? My title, me?
Little me? But I want it out there. I want it done. I believe Crunchyroll was looking out for different studios. ACAT was one on the list. And what appealed to, I believe, Crunchyroll, Tapas, and myself, the director knew of my story even before it was pitched.
Really? Okay.
When he and I had a small conversation online over what drew him to The Beginning After the End, it was really all-encompassing, where I could tell that he not only had read the webcomic, but he researched quite a bit into the novel as well. But with ACAT, one thing that I was reassured by was the fact that I could, be a bit more involved, have more conversations, and really work together to come up with a really strong anime.
Did this guy say a really strong anime? This has got to be parody. This is beyond parody. First of all, I would like to believe that Turtle Me was not directly involved in creating this monstrosity of an anime. You said that you selected this studio because the director knew about TBATE and he read it? That's cool, man. A lot of people have read it. That's why it's a popular story that many people wanted to be adapted. I'm sure some of those people that read it could have made a better anime adaptation. Like if you got 10 college students and put them together in a room, they would make more frames of animation for one episode than the 6 or 7 that have come out so far, which honestly is a low bar because every single episode is just a slideshow. You can barely even call it an anime. Where's the animation? I really hope we can one day know what studios this guy had as options. Given that ACAT is literally one of the worst studios in anime, I just have to know. Because imagine Crunchyroll was like, hey, Turtle Me, so we have Brains Base, we have JC Staff, we have Production IG, and then bro's like, yeah, I'll take ACAT. Yeah, ACAT, that's the one. Because the director says he's read my story and he says that he thinks it's cool. So, I mean, obviously, we'll go with that guy. Plus, I'll be able to be more involved. I mean, if you were involved in making this, I would have to call you a member of a certain organization. It really doesn't make any sense to me how this guy could have possibly thought this would turn out. Did he think that ACAT would turn around and make their first not garbage anime production ever with his project? Obviously, these guys are going to make something terrible, bro. Terrible actual anime is all they've ever made. And the sentiment from the fans is the same as mine. Let's take a look at the TBATE novel Reddit. It's not just the animation. I'm with most fans here that the anime is not doing the source material justice in the slightest, especially in animation or the lack of it, but the anime is screwing things up in even worse ways. That was evident in the latest episode more than any of the others, given their lack of detail and failure in showing Arthur's parents' grief over Arthur's disappearance. And as we can see the manhwa panels here, side by side with the anime, we have her in the anime seeming slightly shocked. No, Arthur, no, please don't disappear on us, no. I hope my son's alive. And in the manhwa panel, she is clearly very distraught. They're having to hold her back. She's definitely like screaming in this scene. She's a lot more dirtied up, injured. You have this dude with like a little bit of a scuff from a punch on his face. Like the scene is just like, it doesn't convey at all the actual energy of what was happening here. Then you have over here the actual context. As you can see from the wrist, she is not a very happy person. And this guy is telling him to go comfort his wife and do something to support her so he doesn't lose her too over this grief. Then in this panel, I don't even know what she's looking at. It looks like she's looking up at nothing. Kind of got a lazy eyes look over here and a couple of tears over here. Whereas in this one, she looks like she was actually crying heavily, dark bags under the eyes, completely distraught that she lost her son. And once again, this panel looks like literally just some average romantic scene versus this one where you can clearly see that they're sad and distraught. I mean, we get the point, right? Even in the still frames for this anime, because you're only really getting still frames, you're not getting the level of emotion and really feeling the vibe of the scene the way that you did in the manhwa. So really, it would have been better if they actually moved around still frames of the manhwa panels and had the speed effect. Maybe it'd be more of an anime than the actual TBATE anime. It's not just terrible fight scenes, it's a complete failure to even convey the emotions of the characters in these moments. That's what makes it so good. And I just have to wonder, are they actually making a profit off of this? Like, are they making money? Is there some kind of win for Studio ACAT, for Crunchyroll, for Turtle Me? If somebody doesn't know about TBATE and they really are introduced to this story by the anime, I imagine they watch this pile of garbage and decide that they're not going to engage with it any further. I don't know how many people are actually going to see this stuff and decide, I really want to read the manhwa. Usually people will love the anime, they watch it all the way to the end, and they can't wait for a season 2, so they have to read the manhwa to catch up with what's happening. I don't see that happening with people who have to watch this. Shout out to Fuyuki23, by the way, the original TBATE artist. He was the one that drew that beautiful scene in the manhwa. But again, this anime is just such a massive disappointment. When you have a good story and you have an anime adaptation, it brings more people into manhwa, it brings a bunch more fans to that specific series. It's a great help for the author and everybody that works on it. There's a bunch more money that will come to the project. But whether it's out of ignorance or desperation, you can't just jump at any supposed opportunity, because when you get people with no real skill, passion, or talent for what you're trying to create, then they'll create this and everybody hates it, especially the fans who were so excited to have an adaptation, and then it ends up being this. And there's been criticisms of Tower of God, God of High School, but I think I can say out of all the manhwa adaptations, at least that I know of, there has not been one as bad as this. And since this is one of the most popular manhwa that there is out there, it's just sad to see, and knowing that really nothing is going to change, it's pretty unfortunate. I hope that some lessons are learned here. Don't jump at any opportunity. Actually do a background check on the studio. Honestly, you could have just checked their My Anime List profile and seen Studio ACAT's track record. It's not good. And I guess just generally do your research. Like, this didn't have to happen. He could have potentially gone with a studio that actually animates their anime. But again, in this whole catastrophe of an anime, I just hope that there are lessons learned and that we don't have something like this happening again, because I know for sure if we were to get like a Lord of the Mysteries anime and it ends up being terrible, there would be a lot of people crashing out. But that's all I have for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed, then be sure to drop a like below. Helps me a lot on the algorithm, and subscribe for more videos, and I'll see you guys next time.